Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fiber Broadband Association's Fiber Breakfast. We're now on our 31st episode of 2026. In Washington, D.C., the Senate Commerce Committee held a hearing last week on artificial intelligence. The Fiber Broadband Association submitted a letter on the record focused on two key priorities: recognizing fiber as foundational infrastructure for AI and streamlining permitting to accelerate deployment. The key message coming out of the hearings was the recognition that fiber is the backbone of the AI economy. And on Thursday, the Senate Agriculture Committee will be working on the Farm Bill 2.0 markup, so we're keeping a very close eye on that. And at the FCC yesterday, we submitted our comments on the USF high cost program, and we're also working to provide comments on the FCC's Section 253 proceeding. You know, the Fiber Broadband Association's next Regional Fiber Connect workshop will be held in Omaha on Tuesday, August 25th. And as Omaha is anything like the regional event we just held in Bozeman, it's going to be absolutely amazing. And so we hope you join us. And then after Omaha, we'll be in Boston in September. I was just telling Roger that. We'd definitely like to see him there. And we'll be in Savannah, which is my hometown here, in October, and Vancouver, British Columbia in November, and we'll finish the year out at our premier members meeting in Isla Mirada, Florida in December. Last week on Fiber Breakfast, our guest was my good friend, Joey Winder, the CEO and Executive Director of Shelby Coalition, discussed the importance of advocating to save the E-rate program for schools and libraries in America. You know, I always enjoy spending time with Joey. He's absolutely amazing. And he is fully on the mission to save E-rate. So if anybody can do it, he certainly has a great track record. So if you missed that session, you can go to our website and watch the replay. Today on Fiber Breakfast, our guest is Roger Entner, or Enter. I never can say it right. Entner? Is that right? Entner? Anyway, the analyst and founder of Recon Analytics discuss AI runs on fiber, how networks are evolving. Roger is the founder and lead analyst for Recon Analytics, where he advises telecommunications, media, and technology companies on strategy, market dynamics, and public policy. A recognized authority on U.S. telecommunications industry, he previously held senior research leadership positions at Nielsen, IAG Research, Obam, and Yankee Group. He's widely known for pioneering research on customer lifetime value, the mobile handset replacement cycle, and the economic impact of the wireless industry. His work's been cited by the FCC, the White House Council of Economic Advisors, the Department of Defense, and he's testified before U.S. Congress on wireless economics, spectrum policy, and broadband infrastructure. He's a frequent commentator in leading national and international media and serves as the co-chairman of the Boston Warburg chapter of the American Council on Germany. He holds a bachelor's degree from Heriot-Watt University, an MBA from George Washington, and an honorary Doctor of Science from Heriot-Watt. So welcome, Roger. And for our audience, please type in your questions as we go. And we're just going to jump right in. So welcome, Roger. Always a pleasure to have you here.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. And thank you for having me back.
I love your research. Your panels are amazing. All right. So before we get started, what is the backstory on your honorary doctorate degree?
Well, the university came to me, and now I'm here. Usually, you have to wait until you're half dead, right, before you get an honorary degree. But I was like, 42, 43, and they asked me if I was interested in receiving an honorary degree. We have like people in the U.S. Who are graduates from my university in Scotland, and I said yes, right, and then I became the head of the American Friends of Heriot-Watt for the next 10 years, right? And I helped raise funds for the university. But it was very nice to be recognized for all the work that I had done, and helping advance telecommunication the understanding of telecommunications and how this actually works, because it's the application of a lot of academic research to the practical field, right? And what are the real underpinnings that are here important? You know, before, right, we always had like, and there are a couple of episodes, like customer lifetime value. We all take this for granted nowadays. Everybody talks about it. And and it's basically the application of discounted cash flow from a bond. And, you know, I had the epiphany in like 2001, 2002, that a wireless customer and his lifetime with a carrier is the same thing as a bond, right? You have a cash outflow, and then you have a series of cash inflows, which are like the coupons, and then you get paid back or not, right? And I applied this to telecom, right? So it's a tried and true thing, and you can estimate how long a customer is with you, because if you take the churn rate, if you take 100 and divide it by the churn rate as an absolute number, that gives you how long the customer will stay with you in months. Like 2% churn rate means the customer will stay with you 25 months, about 2 years, right? 1% is 100 months, is 9 years, right? So, and I did the same thing with the handset replacement cycle, which we now talk about a lot. I quantified how do you calculate this actually. Go away from an upgrade rate, which is like, what does this mean? But it's much more tangible when you know a customer stays with their phone for 40 months, 48 months. At that time, it was like about 2 years in the US, right? And so, and I wrote a paper about this, when was that? 2011, 2012, very early on in my time after I founded Recon Analytics, to basically compare how frequent US customers were upgrading their phones. At that time, we had contracts, right? And so, but that meant every 2 years you basically got a free phone. And that led that Americans had the newest phones in the world. And so always the newest technology. And at that time, innovation was very rapid. Having the newest phones that were able to access the newest networks, that was really, really important. Now, innovation on the handset side has slowed down, and with it, the upgrade cycle, right? And so it's when you break this then down on the handset side, right, there's a segment that wants to have a new phone every year. There's one that is highly sensitive to financial incentives. And there's one segment that will only upgrade their phone when it dies, or when it's functionally obsolescent, or when the battery no longer works, right? I just visited, and it's very interesting of how this works. It's a personality trait, right? It's like some people upgrade every year. I just visited with a big wireless carrier, and the person who runs their mobile operations, basically, he's like, yeah, I don't like changing my phone. I only do this like when the battery gives out or when this breaks. So even
I know exactly what you mean. My kids want to upgrade every time a new phone comes out, and I wait till mine, I can't get it to work anymore. So yeah, I know.
People inside the industry are part of the slowdown in the and he gets his phone for free, right? It's like, it's not about the money anymore. It's about convenience, and does it make a difference?
Well, listen, so your research is absolutely amazing. The surveys. Can you talk a little bit about how the size of your panels and how do you get so many people responding?
Well, So we survey every single week 6,000 wireless customers, 6,000 home internet customers, 4,000 4,000 customers on video every single week, consumers. We survey 300 to 1,200 businesses every week. We just launched the mobile and home internet in Germany, the UK, and Canada. We survey several thousand people on airlines, and we survey on credit card, banking, and insurance. And we survey 6,000 people on AI every single week. That's the largest AI data set available anywhere. We survey every week more people than the largest standalone survey ever. And
Yeah,
so
no, I mean, the data is fantastic. If I look at, let's just start with AI. This AI discussion. So is AI a friend or foe? And, on June 20th, you had a report where that question had been answered 137 times in the first half of the year. So can you tell us what it told us?
Yeah, well, AI is certainly a friend for AI. The demand that AI is putting on networks is dramatic, and it also changes the way we use the networks. Typically, networks right now, or if we go a couple of years back, the 95%, 97%, between 95 and 93% of the network traffic was download and 7% was upload. With AI, this is shifting significantly into the teens, if not higher. It sounds small, but that's like double it. Furthermore, the use, like these data centers, what they are consuming in bandwidth is insane. The new data centers have multiple 800G, or they're even planning to go to 1.6 terabit connections to the outside, not inside the networks, but outside. And so the demand for capacity that goes to a data center is dramatic. Where the real demand and wider spread impact comes is then when it goes to the metro networks. The metro networks are being significantly upgraded. In the past, we had 100G connections, we had 50G connections. AT&T and Spectrum, they have now metro networks with 400G. Because AI is driving such dramatic amount of increase in data consumption. It is insane.
So just kind of back to the friend or foe question. From your research, it sounds like on the hope side of the question that everybody's aligned. 70% of Americans have at least one specific hope and one specific fear. And it sounds like the fears are all pretty much the same, highly aligned, worried about autonomy and privacy, trust and truth, and livelihood, which I always thought was really interesting is statistically, the fear of losing your job is identical for people making $20,000 a year versus people making $190,000 a year. And pretty much the same whether you live in an urban or rural area, and pretty much the same if you are 30 years old or you're 70 years old. But hope seems to be all over the board.
Well, hope is, here's where the driver is, right? A lot of the research says everybody thinks AI will end the world. Well, it will end the world as we know it. And everybody, and if you ask this as one question, the fears dominate. And yes, this will change the world. And what we see is, regardless of income, regardless of what you do, as you nicely pointed out, the fears are universal. The hope is not. The more you use AI, the more hopeful you become. The people who don't know AI don't know the impact that it can have, how transformative it can be, how beneficial it can be. So the more you use AI, the more hopeful you become. The most intense AI users are more hopeful than they are afraid, because they know how to use AI as a weapon and as a beneficial force in their life. They can make it shape what they do. It's what we've been doing and what I've been doing at Recon Analytics with AI is nothing short than miraculous. Right? We built an AI system called the Ghost Lab that lets us not only connect our own data and analyze it, but connects to more than 250 government databases, and lets us find the insights that I've done so much research with it. I can do now in hours what took me months. And what's really neat then is I built something I call DIGs, Data Instruction Guides, which is basically a download of the things I learned over the last 30 years in this industry and codifies it. And what's even more, the reason why it's called Ghost Lab is a little bit of an inside joke. If you like Tom Clancy, Recon, Ghost Lab, Ghost Recon, it's like special forces, right? And then the other thing is what we've built is like the DNAs, the observable behavior patterns of executives. As we get older, you realize, change is harder than ever, right? And our behavior patterns become calcified, especially successful people. Their behavior patterns become calcified because their behavior patterns made them very successful and rich. So all the incentives are there that they will do the same thing over and over again. For example, Srini Gopalan from T-Mobile, he's redoing the same playbook now for the 6th time. He has been successful every time, right? So it's pretty predictable how this plays out. And so with our AI solution, we can look at problems through the eyes of the behavior patterns that these executives have shown us over the years. Because everything, when you become successful, becomes documentable, right? And so this is basically a codification of how I became one of the better analysts, by saying numbers and facts are important. You need to really understand them, but numbers and facts don't make decisions. People make decisions. And if you understand the people who make the decisions, you can figure out what's going to happen, right?
Well, I mean, AI training's all about understanding patterns. Yep. And, that's how AI can predict what the next word is in this sentence. But so, you mentioned that, so hope is really contingent on how well versed you are with AI and how you're using the tools. And your studies are showing, and I like to cite your studies a lot, is that fiber, not only are more people using AI on a daily basis when they have a fiber connection, but fiber users, your survey shows that they ask 28.5 questions per AI session, and that goes down significantly with the quality of your connection.
Yes.
And you cite that AI sessions, fiber sessions, are 50% more intensive than someone on a cable network. Can you tell us a little more about what all that means?
Well, what that means is that people on a fiber connection are, because you're moving so much data at such high speeds with low latency, and it's a much more rewarding experience when when you're not waiting, it's like waiting for a tea to properly soak. But when this becomes interactive, um, and it's much more interactive based on the network underlying it, that the sessions are longer, they're more intensive because it's more interactive, and the type of workloads that are being run are uh, are, um, are much more complicated and deeper, right? A quarter of Americans are using AI every day using their cell phone. That's insane, right? A quarter. But what they do is relatively light chatbot type like analysis. I would not write a report together with AI on my mobile device. But on my computer, where I can visualize things, where I can work very intensively, we can do this. Or use a lot of people are building now videos with AI. Things like that, you need a proper setup, and you need a proper connection with it. And here, a computer and fiber is the right setup for real work applications, where you're going deep into something. You know, on a mobile device, it basically has replaced, you know, the search, or search and AI have now become synonymous, right? Google is basically putting an AI chatbot together with this. On fiber, you're doing real statistical, you know, doing just real work, right?
And that's what your studies show as well, right? Is that the quality of your connection determines the devices that you're using. So if you're going to use, you know, rich media and intense operations, you're going to have fiber, or maybe gaming, you're going to have fiber.
Yeah.
And if lower income and maybe you don't have.
Yeah, and it's a virtuous circle. People who have fiber do more intense sessions with AI, and the people who do more intense sessions are moving towards fiber. So
is there going to be a divide on fiber versus non-fiber? You know, if you do the correlation between, if you have fiber, you're going to be doing more AI work, you're going to be more deep dive intensive AI work, and those people are going to have more efficiency, gain more knowledge, be able to generate more income. And those that aren't participating, is it the AI divide now?
It's becoming an AI divide, right? Where if you have fiber, and by the way, it is more, fiber is the key, right? And but it's a move towards lower latency, higher throughput networks. And so the fiber is the key here. The cable companies with DOCSIS 4.0 are moving towards that, but that's fiber, right? That's also a hybrid fiber coax. There's a lot of fiber here. The coax is typically more of the challenge. And the fiber companies have become, and the cable companies have become fiber companies, right? Probably 1 out of 8 of Charter's customers are fiber customers, right? And rapidly growing. They're building fiber where in their RDOF markets. So because fiber is the superior technology here, and actions speak louder than words. But yeah, the danger is that when you are using a lighter solution, that you're falling behind on AI, because it becomes more frustrating because it's slower, and you know, we have to watch how this changes as the networks evolve. But right now, fiber fiber is here the clear winner.
All right, so we have a lot of service providers on today. So we know that, it's really important subscribers have fiber, but how should, from your surveys, how should they be reacting, from not only optimizing of their operations, efficiency, but from a subscriber perspective? What are some of the things that your research might point to that might help them on increasing their average revenue per user and better engagement? And you mentioned churn, reducing churn.
Yeah, one of the things that fiber companies can do, and which we haven't seen too much in the US, we've seen it overseas, is partner with AI companies and bundle AI with a fiber connection, right? In the past, we bundled it with video and other things. AI and fiber is a natural bundle, and
so you get a cloud subscription with your fiber connection,
or vice versa, right? And this will then help you to upsell your customers to higher speed tiers, because the moment people get into AI and video, right? So, for example, I'm using AI as my trouble shooting for almost everything now, and like I installed a while ago more RAM into my computer, and I used AI and took pictures and videos of what was happening, and AI was here the best tech support I've ever had. Patient, reassuring, all of these things, and I'm like, oh my God! Like, I remember when I had to do tech support for my mother, how I was sometimes getting a little bit impatient, which I shouldn't have. And here, AI put me to shame by being patient and very thorough, walking me through all of that. So now, and I don't think a lot of people are doing that. But the neat thing is when you can send AI pictures and videos, and you do it like live on video, it's incredibly empowering, and at the same time incredibly taxing for the network. And if you don't have a symmetric connection, your video troubleshooting with AI is not going to work well, right?
So what we see is attach rates. Certainly mobile attach rates with fiber. AT&T's now has 45, almost 50% attach rates. What Wall Street likes to call the first person with fiber wins the broadband business. First person with fiber wins the mobile business. One of the questions that came in is, how would you bundle AI? What's that look like? Is that intelligence as a service? What would you think that looks like?
Well, some of the AI companies are still willing to make agreements where they provide discounts or even free service for a certain period of time, and then simply bill it together, right? Because you want to drive a very catchy and sticky application. It can also help you become closer to your client, to your customers, but you might have to have then more, you can drive your customer service to AI by creating custom chatbots or instructions of how to do that. And so it's a traditional bundling approach. There's no magic or silver bullet here. It's good old put two things together that belong together.
You can just build an AI agent to figure it all out for you.
Yeah.
Hey, so Roger, last question. So what should we look forward to in your next AI survey? What's kind of the key question you're going to be asking?
Well, some of the things we're looking at is is, the impact that Starlink has on all of this. One of the scary things for fiber providers is that we can see very clearly in our data that Starlink has now, from a customer perception, fiber-like reliability, which should all scare us, right? The reason why is that they have a phenomenal router. And so the research that is coming is, what is the impact that a router has on the customer experience? By the way, on our website, we provide these reports for sale or as a subscription. And so because the router is a critical component here, and because it's the gateway between the phenomenal fiber or not so phenomenal satellite connection with the consumer, and it can make it can make that thing great, or it can make things not so great. And so that's some of the things we're working on. Fiber is a great technology, but we have to be cognizant of that there's other technologies out there, and we need to understand them really well, right? And so, like I have a Starlink connection in addition to my fiber connection here, and I'm running speed tests every 15 minutes to see how does this behave in suburban Boston. Because the common lore is that, oh, Starlink is only something for rural America. It is not. It's coming in urban and suburban markets. And as a good fiber company, you have to be diligent, and you haven't won. That's how you lose, is when you declare victory before the whistle blows. And fiber providers need to keep working on improving their technology, providing an excellent service at a reasonable cost. Because if they don't, there are others who are willing to take your customers' money, right?
All right, well, Roger, thank you so much. I always enjoy your insights and research, and just the data you have is so incredible. So keep on doing those surveys.
All right,
and we hope you guys will get back together next Wednesday with one of my favorite guests, Aaron Farnan, the General Manager of United Fiber, is going to discuss Beyond the Build, monetizing fiber for long-term advantage. And United Fiber Electric Co-op that is just doing amazing. They have 7,000 electric members, but over 50,000 broadband subs. So you love a business like that. All right, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Roger, thanks again for the great work, and can't wait to talk to you soon. Hopefully see you in Boston.